Hi guys, I'm back with another lecture of macroeconomics, and in this lecture we are going to talk about the permanent income hypothesis. So before we start with the lecture, just a brief introduction about myself. So I'm Sandhya Rao, working as an assistant professor at St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. So we have already covered the absolute income theory and the relative income theory. In this lecture, we'll be talking about permanent income theory. So first of all, who gave this theory? So Milton Friedman was the person behind this theory. And in the previous theories, which we have already covered, see the thing is, or the crux here is that in all the different theories, in all the different hypotheses, we are talking about the different kinds of income. But the basic premise remains the same, that the consumption always depends upon the income. Okay. So now here, we are trying to say that the consumption depends upon the permanent income. So we are trying to establish a relationship between consumption and permanent income. Now, what exactly is this permanent income? So this is the income that we are going to receive in the long run. Okay, the amount a consumer could consume while maintaining its wealth intact. Or you can say the income that he is going to earn in the long run. Okay? Now we can divide it into two parts. It's basically a summation of human wealth as well as the non-human wealth. Human wealth as in when we sell our labor services or when we provide factor services, okay? And non-human wealth as in the income that we receive from investment in banks, shares, bonds, etc. Okay, so whatever capital assets we are having, if we are generating any income out of it, then that becomes our non-human wealth. So permanent income is that only, okay, which remains stable in the long run. Now, permanent income, okay, now we have divided the current income into two parts, okay. So our present income, or you can say the current income is a summation of permanent income plus the transitory income, okay. So let's say if my income for this month is, let's say 20,000, okay. And let's say the salary is only 15,000. Now this 5,000 is my transitory income, which means that this is the portion or the quantum that I have received in the short run. Okay, it might not be consistent throughout the year. It is very much possible that I have received it in a form of a bonus. Now I'm not going to receive the bonus in the next month, maybe. Okay, it's quite possible. So transitory income is the unexpected or unanticipated or windfall rise or fall in the income. So this is something if you're not very certain about that you're going to continue with this income in the long run or not. So it's short run in nature. The nature is temporary. So you can call them as temporary income. कोई आपने लॉटरी विन करी या कुछ भी अगर आपने एक्स्ट्रा कुछ भी अर्न करा इन दैट पीरियड देन दैट इज नोन एज ट्रांजिटरी इनकम. Okay, for example, you went out for a party and you were playing some game in which you were earning money. So in that case, that income will be known as temporary income, or you can say transitory income, because it's very much possible that if you go there the next time, you might lose your money. Okay, so it can be known as temporary rise or fall in the income. Okay, so that is transitory income, and you're never certain that you're going to receive it in the next period or not. Okay, so for example, before we start with the theory, a person who receives wages, there's a person who receives his wages on weekly basis. Okay, so let's say he receives his income on every Friday. Now, what according to you should be his consumption pattern? Should he spend his entire income on the day itself when he receives his income, or he should spend more on Friday and less on other days, or he should even out his consumption pattern throughout the week? Now, being a rational consumer, he should even out his consumption throughout the week. Okay, a person can never survive if he's going to spend his entire income on one day. Okay, if he cannot be like eat the or he cannot be like spend all his income on one day and have nothing with himself in other days. Okay, सारा कुछ वो एक दिन में तो नहीं स्पेंड कर सकता, सब कुछ एक दिन में नहीं खा सकता ना, बाकी डेज की कंजम्पशन वो एक दिन में नहीं कर सकता, बिकॉज इट्स ह्यूमन नेचर. हमें सस्टेन करने के लिए, जिंदा रहने के लिए, वी हैव टू मेंटेन अवर कंजम्पशन इवनली. ठीक है, ऐसा भी नहीं हो सकता कि वो सारी कंजम्पशन जो है वो फ्राइडे को कर ले, या ज़्यादा कंजम्पशन वो फ्राइडे को करे और बाकी दिन वो कम करे. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता ना कि आज मैं बहुत कुछ खा लूँ, सब कुछ खा लूँ, मतलब मैंने आज 4 चपाती खा ली और बाकी दिन जो है मैं आधी आधी चपाती में सस्टेन करूँ. अगर मेरी डेली रिक्वायरमेंट 2 चपातीज है तो मुझे 2 चपातीज खानी चाहिए रोज, ठीक है, rather than consuming 4 chapatis or 6 chapatis in one day and having only 1 chapati in other days. So even that's not an option. So the ideal, or you can say the best possible option for any rational consumer is to even out his consumption throughout the period. Okay, जो भी आपका period है उसमें आपको even out कर देनी चाहिए. So based on this example, what we have concluded is that the consumption is a function of permanent income. Secondly, यहाँ पे I have written CP, which is my present, the permanent consumption, equals to K, which represents proportion, multiplied by the permanent income. Now, what is this K? It's a proportion of permanent income. So, what proportion of permanent income is actually being consumed? Okay. So now this K is again can be represented as the rate of interest, or you can say that it gets affected by the rate of interest. It gets affected by the ratio of human wealth to non-human. It gets affected by the ratio of non-human wealth to human wealth. Also, it gets affected by one's desire to add to one's capital. Okay, now what exactly are these? Let's study them in detail. So, every consumer invest their money in bank account. Okay, whatever investment जो भी वो करते हैं वो उस पे कुछ return भी earn करते हैं. So let's say if the rate of interest is increasing. Now, what will a rational consumer do? He will invest more because he is getting return out of it, and his consumption will be reduced. So if the rate of interest is increasing, the value of K will reduce and ultimately your consumption will also fall. Now the next thing, which is W, which means the ratio of or the proportion of non-human wealth to human wealth. So it means that if you know you are adding your non-human wealth, अगर आप अपनी non-human wealth को add on कर रहे हो, which is nothing but the addition in investment in gold and any other asset, then if you are adding more non-wealth, non-human wealth, in that case, again, the value of K will increase. And if a rational consumer feels that, he wants to add more to his capital, in that case, if he is adding his capital just for the sake of it and not for the consumption, which means that, he is not consuming. He is not adding the capital to satisfy his needs or wants. In that case, again, addition to you, or you can say the addition to one's capital will lead to more, will lead to less consumption. Okay, so the consumption will fall, and ultimately the value of K will also fall. So this is how we can represent the value of K. So it's a function of rate of interest, and W, which represents the rate of the proportion of non-human wealth to human wealth, and a function of U, which represents the consumer's propensity to consume. So if the consumer's propensity to consume is falling, ultimately the K will also fall, and ultimately the consumption will also fall. So now with this, we can say that the permanent income can be written as a function of AY. Okay. So if you could see here, this if you could see this equation, so this states Y T, which is the permanent income, equals to Y T minus 1. Now Y T minus 1 means the income or the current income of previous year. Okay. Now, and Y T represents the current income, जो हमारी current period की income है. So if you want to calculate the permanent income, we can write it in this way: yt minus 1 plus a bracket yt minus yt minus 1. Now what is this A? A is the rate of change in the income between the present period and the previous period. Okay, so whatever change is happening in the current year and the previous year in your income, that is represented by the value of A. Now I'll try to give you an example that will make it more clear. So let's say the current income, that is YT, is given as 85,000. And the previous income, that is YT minus 1, is given as 80,000. Okay, so we can clearly see that there is an addition of 5,000. But this is the total income. Okay, this is the total income, or you can call it measured income. Now, there's a proportion of change in income of 0.6. So how we are going to calculate the permanent income here? So we'll be applying the same formula here. So this is nothing but जो भी आपकी income previous year में थी, which is this YT -1 plus कितना change आया है आपकी दोनों income में, present income में और previous income में, ठीक है? Multiplied by जो आपका rate of change है. This gives you the permanent income. So now moving on here again. So if we apply the same equation, हम सारी वैल्यूज इसमें पुट कर देते हैं तो वी गेट द परमानेंट इनकम एज 83,000. नाउ फ्रॉम दिस इक्वेशन हम इसको अगर सॉल्व करते हैं और फर्दर सॉल्व करते हैं ना आफ्टर ओपनिंग द ब्रैकेट एंड कॉमन वगैरह लेने के बाद वी गेट दिस इक्वेशन. दिस इज द final equation. So we can say that the permanent income is equal to A by T, which is the rate of change, multiplied by the current income, plus 1 minus A multiplied by the previous income. So this is the formula for deriving the permanent income. Okay. So we can see here that the permanent income is 83,000 and the present income is 85,000. So from this we can infer that if there is a change, if there is a positive change, or let's say if there is an increase in the income, ठीक है, अगर आपके previous period से current period में income अगर increase हो रही है, then definitely the permanent income will be less than the measured income. Now what it means, देखो यहाँ पे clearly दिखा है कि ये आपकी measured income and this is your permanent income. So you can clearly see here that the income is 83,000 and the total income, which is the measured income, is 85,000. So why is it so? Because there is a positive change and that positive change is nothing but the transitory income. Okay, तो इसका मतलब ये है कि आपने उस current period में transitory income earn करी है, that is of 2,000. तो आपका transitory income है 2,000, which means ये आपका temporary income है. अब ये 2,000 आपने इस पीरियड में अर्न कर लिया. इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी दैट यू गोइंग टू अर्न द सेम 2,000 इन द नेक्स्ट पीरियड आल्सो. इट्स क्वाइट पॉसिबल मे बी नेक्स्ट पीरियड में आप शायद 4,000 अर्न कर लो या फिर आप जीरो ट्रांजिटरी इनकम अर्न करो, ठीक है, या फिर इट्स आल्सो पॉसिबल दैट आप लूज कर जाओ. सो अगर आपकी जो ट्रांजिटरी इनकम है इट्स इन नेगेटिव, then in that case the permanent income will be more than the measured income. Okay, and अगर आपकी transitory income is zero, then your measured income will be equal to the permanent income. So this is what we are trying to say from this example. So now if we use the same equation for the main equation, हमारी main equation क्या है, जो हमारी total income है, जो measured income जो है current period की, that is a summation of permanent income plus the temporary income, which is transitory income. Okay, and also consumption is a function of permanent income. So we all know that consumption is a function of permanent income, where K is a function of rate of interest and the propensity to consume, also the proportion of non-human wealth to human wealth. Now here, I can rewrite this equation. I know what the formula for YP is, which is my permanent income. We have just now determined the value of it. So we can simply put it here. Okay. Now this K, because the YP, which is the permanent income, is being multiplied by K. So I have multiplied it by this. If I give you the equation separately, then this was the equation for permanent income. Okay. Now this entire thing when gets multiplied by K, we can say that this is the function for C. So this is the function of C, which can be written as a function of permanent income. Okay. Now here, what you have to understand is, now if we open the bracket, we'll get this equation, okay, which is written on the top. Now from this equation, this part, this KA into YT, which is the current income, what does it represent? Now see, it's very important. Now here, KA stands for the short run marginal propensity to consume. And if I say this K, what this K represents? It represents the long run MPC. So K is the long run MPC, and if I take this entire KA, then it represents the short run MPC. And this portion, this K multiplied by 1 minus A, represents the intercept of short run consumption function. Now what does this intercept means? दैट अगर आपका शॉर्ट रन में कंजम्पशन जहां से भी स्टार्ट होगी, वी ऑल नो दैट कंजम्पशन नेवर स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम जीरो बिकॉज यू नो देयर इज सम ऑटोनोमस कंजम्पशन, तो इसलिए जीरो से कभी भी स्टार्ट नहीं होगी। कुछ ऐसी ज़रूरतें होती हैं जो हमें कंज्यूम करनी पड़ती हैं, अगर हमारी इनकम नहीं भी है, जीरो इनकम भी है, इवन देन वी विल कंटिन्यू टू कंज्यूम समथिंग। So that is why the consumption function always starts above the origin. तो कितना ऊपर से स्टार्ट होगा ये हमें पता चलता है इस इंटरसेप्ट से। ओके, so this k 1 minus a multiplied by y3 minus 1 is the intercept of short run consumption function. Okay, so it represents the point from which the consumption function will begin in the short run. Now also, there is one more thing that you need to understand here, that K, which is the long run MPC, and Ka, which is the short run MPC. Now, K, long run MPC, is always more than the short run MPC. The long run में हमारा consumption function ऐसे होता है, ठीक है, linear consumption function होता है, एंड शॉर्ट रन में हमारा जो फंक्शन होता है वो थोड़ा फ्लैट होता है, जो हमारा कर्व होता है दैट इज स्लाइटली फ्लैट। अब इसका जो स्लोप होता है फ्लैट कर्व का, वी ऑल नो दैट इज ऑलवेज लेस देन अ स्लोप ऑफ कर्व व्हिच इज स्टीपर इन नेचर। जितना ज्यादा स्टीप होगा उतना ही ज्यादा स्लोप ज्यादा होगा, एंड जितना कर्व फ्लैट होगा उतना ही उसका स्लोप जो होगा वो कम होगा। सो हियर इफ यू कुड सी, दिस इज द लॉन्ग रन consumption function, this is the short run consumption function. So this LC is steeper and this short run consumption function is flatter. So that is why this K is more than Ka. Also, K can be 1, Ka can be 0. In short run, we are not sure about the transitive income levels. Now, why is this difference? Why is it that short run consumption function is flat in nature and long run consumption function is linear in nature? The reason behind this is कि short run में हमारी जो इनकम होती है उसके बारे में हम श्योर नहीं होते हैं that whether the transitive income is going to continue for a long period of time or not. हमें उसकी सर्टेनिटी नहीं होती है। इट इज पॉसिबल कि मे बी नेक्स्ट पीरियड में हम वो इनकम ना अर्न करें, इट इज पॉसिबल कि नेक्स्ट पीरियड में मे बी हमारी ट्रांजिटिव इनकम पिछली इनकम से ज्यादा हो। सो कुछ भी श्योरिटी नहीं होती, देयर इज नो सर्टेनिटी अबाउट इट। That is the reason why that in short run the marginal propensity to consume is less, and in long run the marginal propensity to consume is more. Okay, and this is the reason why the short run consumption function is flat in nature. Now guys, before I move ahead, I also want to tell you one very important thing here, that this T is not to be consumed with the transitive income. This is the current income. Okay, the income in the current period. This T represents the income in current year. And before, in the beginning itself, I have told you that the measured income or the current income is the summation of permanent income plus transitory income. Now here again, I have represented it in the form of YT, but here it means transitive income. Okay, and when we are talking about this equation, now here T represents the current income, okay, and T minus 1 represents the income for the previous year. It should not be confused with the transitive income, okay. It does not mean transitive income here. So this is one thing that I wanted to tell you, or you can just do one thing. Here you can write it in slightly bigger form. You can use a capital letter. Right. Okay. So this will not confuse you now. Now, moving ahead, these are the following assumptions that we have here. So first is that there is no correlation between the transitive income and permanent income. Okay. And because obviously we know that permanent income is a totally different concept, which is the income that we're going to continue with in the long run. And transitory income is of short term, is of the nature is short term. And we have no certainty whether we're going to continue with this income in the next period or not. Secondly, there is no correlation between permanent and transitory consumption. Consumption also is divided in two parts, permanent and transitory. Permanent is the consumption that we are going to continue with in the long run, and transitory consumption which changes in the short run only. Okay, let's say I'll give you an example. If my income increases from 100 rupees to 200 rupees, now with this change, ये इनकम क्या मैं इसको अपनी परमानेंट इनकम बोल सकती हूँ? और लेट्स reframe the example. My permanent income is 100 rupees एंड मुझे इस पीरियड में मे बी इस मंथ में मैंने कुछ लॉटरी विन करी है जिसकी वजह से मुझे 50 रुपीज का गेन हो, और लेट्स से मुझे 100 रुपीज का गेन हो. ओके, सो माई permanent income was 100 and my transitory income is also 100. So my current income, my total income becomes how much? 200 rupees. Now, do you think I'm going to increase my consumption based on this 200 rupees for the entire year? ये मुझे इनकम सिर्फ एक महीने में रिसीव हुई है. इस एक महीने की इनकम के बेसिस पे क्या मैं अपनी कंजम्पशन पैटर्न को टोटली चेंज कर दूंगी? नो, राइट? बिकॉज रैशनल कंज्यूमर यही सोचेगा कि ये इनकम टेम्परेरी है नेचर में, सो आई शुड नॉट इंक्रीज माई कंजम्पशन बेस्ड ऑन दिस टेम्परेरी इनकम. तो मुझे अपनी परमानेंट इनकम को देखते हुए चेंजेस करने चाहिए, बट ऑल्सो क्योंकि डेफिनेटली इंक्रीज तो हुई है मेरी इनकम, तो थोड़ा बहुत चेंजेस हम कर सकते हैं, लेकिन हम सेम कंजम्पशन फंक्शन पर ही रहेंगे. वी विल नॉट चेंज अवर कंजम्पशन फंक्शन. ठीक है? So there is no correlation between the permanent and transitory consumption, and there is no correlation between the transitory consumption and transitory income. हमारी जो transitory consumption होती है वो हमारी transitory income के साथ भी मूव करती है. Let's say my transitory income जो है वो 10% इंक्रीज हुई है, तो उस 10% इंक्रीज से मेरी ट्रांजिटरी कंजम्पशन 10% इंक्रीज होगी, ये भी कोई कंफर्म नहीं है. तो देर इज नो कोरिलेशन बिटवीन द ट्रांजिटरी इनकम एंड ट्रांजिटरी कंजम्पशन. Now, the only differences in permanent income affect the consumption systematically. अगर आपकी consumption change होती है तो वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ आपकी permanent income की वजह से ही change होगी. अगर significant change आता है आपके consumption में तो वो सिर्फ तभी आएगा जब आपकी permanent income change होगी. Alright? Also, it is assumed that individual estimates of permanent income are based on the backward looking of expectations. और हमें कैसे पता चलेगा ताकि मेरे परमानेंट इनकम में क्या चेंजेस आने वाले वो हमें प्रीवियस एक्सपीरियंसेस से पता चलता है. हमारे जो पुराने ट्रेंड्स हैं उनको देख के हमें पता चलता है. Moving ahead, if you could see this example, if you could see this diagram, so it's clearly being presented here. ये जो आपका E point है, if you could see this point E, this is the point where the measured income, where the transitory income and the permanent income are both equal. क्योंकि ये जो आपका CL, which is this line, which is a linear line, which is a linear relationship, तो ये आपका लॉन्ग रन कंजम्पशन फंक्शन है, एंड शॉर्ट रन कंजम्पशन फंक्शन जो आपका ये CS है. सो इफ यू कुड सी हियर, यहाँ पे इस पॉइंट पे, इस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट पे, ई पॉइंट पे आपकी जो मेजर्ड इनकम है वो आपकी ये रिप्रेजेंट हो रही है. ऑल्सो इस पॉइंट पे आपकी ट्रांजिटरी इनकम एंड जो आपकी, इफ यू कुड सी हियर, so here permanent income and measured income are identical. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे आपकी permanent income जो है and जो आपकी measured income, they are identical. ठीक है, अब इससे होता क्या है, ऑल्सो यहाँ पे आपकी जो permanent consumption है and जो आपकी measured consumption, that is also same here. Now what happens is, अगर आपकी income जो है वो change होती है, ठीक है, Y से Y1 पे हो जाती है आपकी income. अब ये जो चेंज आया, फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर आपकी ट्रांजिटरी इनकम की वजह से ये चेंज आया, ठीक है, आपकी जो इंक्रीज हुई है इनकम वो आपकी ट्रांजिटरी इनकम में चेंज आया है. अब क्योंकि ट्रांजिटरी इनकम जो है वो परमानेंट तो होती नहीं है नेचर में, ठीक है, द नेचर इज टेम्परेरी. तो अगर टेम्परेरी राइज हो रहा है आपकी इनकम में तो यू विल नॉट इंक्रीज योर कंजम्पशन वेरी मच. ठीक है, आप अपना कंजम्पशन फंक्शन चेंज नहीं करोगे, यू विल रिमेन ऑन द सेम कंजम्पशन फंक्शन. आप CS ग्राफ पर ही रहोगे, CS कर्व पर ही रहोगे, एंड आप क्योंकि आपकी इनकम जो है वो Y से Y1 हो गई है, तो यू विल शिफ्ट फ्रॉम E पॉइंट टू E2. आप इस पॉइंट पर आ जाओगे, E2 पॉइंट पर. ओके, दिस E2 पॉइंट विल बी योर न्यू कंजम्पशन. नाउ अगर ये इनकम जो चेंज हुई है ये आपकी परमानेंट इनकम में चेंज होगा, ठीक है, तो इन दैट केस क्योंकि आपकी परमानेंट इनकम चेंज हुई है, लॉन्ग रन इनकम में चेंज आया, ठीक है, then in that case you can shift to a new consumption function. आप अपनी consumption को तब actually में significantly increase कर सकते हो. Okay, and in that case when your income shifts from Y to Y1 you will move from E to E1. आप इस point पर आ जाओगे, ठीक है, this will be your new consumption function. This CS2 will be your new consumption function. अब जब आप E1 पर आते हो तो आप देख रहे हो आपका जो MPC है वो चेंज नहीं हो रहा है, आप सेम ग्राफ पर हो, ठीक है, योर एमपीसी इज सेम हियर, बट when there was a change in your transitory income, और जब आप E2 पॉइंट पर आए थे तो तब क्या हुआ था, आपका जो एमपीसी था वो फॉल हो गया था, बिकॉज आपका कर्व जो है वो और ज्यादा फ्लैट हो गया. तो नाउ if you are able to understand this, I will repeat it again. So when your transitory income changes, जब आपकी income increase होती है because of transitory income, in that case you remain on the same consumption function and also your MPC is less. But if there is a change in permanent income, you shift to a new consumption function altogether, and there the MPC remains the same, which is for the long run. Okay? तो इसीलिए जो आपका लॉन्ग रन कंजम्पशन फंक्शन होता है उसमें एमपीसी इज ऑलवेज मोर देन दी शॉर्ट रन एमपीसी. And short run MPC is represented by Ka, and the long run consumption function is represented by K. K is the long run MPC and Ka is the short run MPC, and K is always more than the Ka. Okay. So and this gap represents the intercept. ठीक है, ये आपका intercept होता है, which is this part. ये आपका intercept होता है, this part. Okay. So I hope it's very much clear now. So this is just the explanation that we have done just now. तो इस फिगर में जो आपका CL है, which is this line, which is this 45-degree slope, ये क्या represent करता है? This represents the long run consumption function, and it establishes a relationship where APC is equal to the MPC, because 45 डिग्री का स्लोप है, तो जो भी आपका कंजम्पशन होगा सेम लेवल से आपकी इनकम होगी. ठीक है, लाइक द इनकम एंड कंजम्पशन का जो आपका रेशो होगा वो सेम होगा, प्रोपोर्शनल होगा. Okay, and CS is the non-proportional short-run consumption function. CS जो है आपका non-proportional है, क्योंकि जिस proportion में आपकी income change होती है, उस proportion में आपकी consumption जो है वो change नहीं होती है. At OY level of income, where CS and CL curve intersect, or you can say they coincide at point E, it means that there the permanent income and the measured income are both equal. Okay, and when we move and whenever income increases, we move along the same curve and we shift to a new point of consumption, that is E2, but we remain on the same curve. ठीक है, CS पर ही रहे थे हम, क्यों? क्योंकि वो जो चेंज आया वो हमारी ट्रांजिटरी इनकम में आया है. ठीक है, हम उसको ये नहीं, हम वी डू नॉट एक्सपेक्ट दैट द राइज इन इनकम इज परमानेंट. हमने ये अज्यूम किया कि वो परमानेंट नहीं है, इसीलिए वो सेम कंजम्पशन फंक्शन पर रहा. बट अगर जो OY पर जो नई इनकम जो हमारी चेंज हुई है, अगर वो परमानेंट इनकम है, अगर वो नई परमानेंट इनकम है, then in that case we will shift to a new point of consumption that will be on a new consumption function. ठीक है, हम E1 पर शिफ्ट कर गए थे. So we can say the consumer will consume Y1 E1, मतलब हमारा जो कंजम्पशन है वो चेंज हो जाएगा नई इनकम पे. एंड सिंस यू नो दैट दिस इंक्रीज इन इनकम इज परमानेंट, वो अपनी कंजम्पशन को नए उस पर चेंज करेगा जहां पर उसकी एपीसी एमपीसी के इक्वल होगा. So you can see the diagram here again. So this is the permanent income hypothesis, and the basic thing here what we are trying to say is कि हमारी कंजम्पशन जो है वो परमानेंट इनकम पर बेस्ड होती है. अगर हम नए कंजम्पशन फंक्शन पर आते हैं तो वो तभी आते हैं when there is a change in our permanent income, because हमारी शॉर्ट रन में ट्रांजिटरी इनकम भी होती है और परमानेंट इनकम भी होती है, दो कंपोनेंट्स होते हैं शॉर्ट रन में. ठीक है, तो हमारी शॉर्ट रन में क्या होता है, ट्रांजिटरी इनकम की वजह से बहुत सारे चेंजेस आते हैं हमारी करंट इनकम में. तो कभी हमारी करंट इनकम ज्यादा हो सकती है, कभी हमारी कम हो सकती है, एंड द रीजन बिहाइंड दैट इज द चेंज इन ट्रांजिटरी इनकम. ओके, and one more very important thing that you need to understand is this formula. Okay, you have to learn this formula, and or I can say that you should focus more on this formula, क्योंकि जो दूसरा वाला फॉर्मूला है दैट इज नथिंग, उसमें सिर्फ हमने k इज इक्वल c इज इक्वल टू k yp में yp की वैल्यू पुट करी है. ठीक है, yp की डेफिनेशन, yp की जो इक्वेशन है वो ये है, तो हमने सिर्फ यहाँ पर वैल्यू पुट कर दी है. ठीक है, and k we all know, k is a function of r which is rate of interest, w which is the ratio of non-human wealth to human wealth, and u represents the consumer propensity to consume. Okay, so I hope this lecture is clear to you all, and I didn't give you any questions for the absolute theory, so I have combined the question for both the theories. So these are the questions that you're going to do. Explain the ratio effect, define transitory income, define permanent income, And according to the relative income theory, why is the long run APC constant? Okay, so these are the questions that you have to do. So I hope the lecture was fine and you are able to understand it well. And if you have any query, you can ask me. Okay, thank you guys. Bye.